everybody, Lauren Cohen here. Welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to talk about one of the most classic jazz standards out there, and something that so many students that I work with ask about, and that's Cantaloupe Island, the Herbie Hancock classic, specifically how to solo on Cantaloupe Island, and specifically how I like to approach it, which is starting with triads and arpeggios. So let's get into it. So for today's lesson, we are going to work from this PDF. There's a link to download the PDF in the description box below, of course, because we all love free PDFs, right? Well, anyways, I want you to have your free PDF, which you can get via the link in the description below. So if you've been watching the channel for a little bit, you probably know that I'm a big fan of starting with arpeggios, and I've talked about this in previous lessons, but when I use this approach, when we talk about starting with arpeggios when it comes to soloing, I like to call this approach start with 4 and then add more. Okay, because we're starting with these 4-note arpeggios, and then we can fill out those arpeggios with the appropriate scales and modes when we want. Now, in this case, we're going to talk about triads too, just some simple triads to use to unlock these chord changes and to solo on this tune. Now, with this approach we're going to take today, we are mostly going to be talking about how we can unlock the extended harmony of these chord changes. That is how we can access the 9ths, the 11ths, the 13ths, and things like that. We will be talking about some stuff just from the root, but basically we'll be talking about how we can start to think like a pianist, think like a horn player, and access those extensions, the color notes. I like to call those the money notes. I know as bass players, we always think about the roots as the money notes. I get it, because that's what we're getting paid to do. But in terms of the extended harmony, the colors, the extensions, I like to think of those as the money notes. And this approach of unlocking the extended harmony is one of the main approaches that we take in my coaching program, Bass Improv Mastery. You can learn about that program via the link in the description box below as well. So I have this PDF here, I have the basic changes, and then below, obviously, I just have sort of what we're going to play on each one of these changes. And let's just start with triads, okay? So F minor 11 and D flat 7 sharp 11, or D flat 13 sharp 11, which is oftentimes how we'll see the same chord structure. What's cool is we can basically play the same triad. And again, I'm sort of just jumping ahead to this extended harmony stuff, right? So we can play an E flat triad on both of these chords. So if I have F minor 7th or F minor 11th, literally on the piano, I'm just playing an E flat major triad over this structure. Okay, on F minor 11th, if I play an E flat triad, E flat is my 7th, G is my 9th, B flat is my 11th, right? Beautiful, beautiful sound. One of my favorite sounds that we have in a jazz setting. Now, when we go to D flat 7 sharp 11, and you'll probably just hear me talk about this as D flat 13 sharp 11. That's just how I think about this chord structure. I think about it with all the extensions, and that's going to be this sound. When we get to D flat 13 sharp 11, well, E flat triad works great there. E flat triad works great there as well, because E flat is our 9th. G is our sharp 11, B flat is our 13th. Always great when we can have these common tones to work with, so just be able to play, the same triad and just be able to link those chord changes, link those two changes with that same triad. Now, when we go to D minor 7th or D minor 11th, we can play a C major triad. All right, so it's sort of the same formula we used when we're talking about F minor. We basically are going to go to the 7th degree, and from the 7th degree, we can play a major triad from that 7th degree. So D minor 11th, D minor 7th, the 7th degree is C. So C major triad there, okay? And that C is our 7th, E is our 9th, G is our 11th. Beautiful sound. So that's the first way that we can unlock these changes, is with these triads. So again, F minor 11th, we can play an E flat triad. Okay, same thing for D flat 13 sharp 11. Okay, and then for D minor 11th, a C major triad. Okay, beautiful colors just using 3-note simple triads on those changes. Now, the next approach I want to talk about is using 6th chord arpeggios. This is something that is an essential part of my approach to improvisation. Again, if you've been following the channel, you've heard me sort of talk about 6 chords in a few different contexts. In a funk context, I did a video about that. I did a video of 6 chords on the jazz standard Yesterdays. And this is just a huge sound, a huge part of what I like to do when I improvise, is starting with these 6 chord arpeggios. Again, this idea of starting with 4 and then add more around it. So we can use these to great effect. First chord, F minor 11th. Okay, and I'm just playing from the root here, not necessarily accessing this extended harmony, but remember, F minor 11th or F minor 7th, it's all coming from this Dorian minor sound. So that would be F, G, A flat, B flat, C, D, E flat, and then F. Dorian minor is defined by that minor 3rd, A flat, and the major 6th, D, right? Okay, yes, we have the minor 7th in there, but what defines Dorian minor is that major 6th. So whenever we have this minor 7th, minor 9th, minor 11th sound, we can approach it and unlock it just with a minor 6th arpeggio from the root. Okay, great sound. So now when we go to our next chord, D flat 13 sharp 11, we're just going to take this up a minor 3rd. We're going to play A flat minor 6. Okay, now, why does this work? Well, the mode that we would play if we had D flat 13 sharp 11, right? The mode that we would play on that, if we were just playing from D flat, that would be D flat Lydian dominant, it's called. Okay, D flat Lydian dominant. The notes of D flat Lydian dominant are D flat, E flat, F, G, A flat, B flat, B natural or C flat, and then D flat. Okay, D flat Lydian dominant, those are all the same notes. That mode is coming from A flat melodic minor. It's all just basically A flat melodic minor starting from D flat. So if I were to play A flat melodic, if I was going to play A flat melodic minor on this chord, I'd have this. Okay, that's a 7-note scale, fantastic. But as I said, I like to start with 4, then add more. For a variety of reasons. It's a lot easier to phrase 4 notes, okay? I can also start playing 8th note lines for playing a tune in 4/4 like this. If I'm thinking just a 4-note grouping, I can immediately start playing 8th note lines. But anyway, so if I play A flat minor 6 on that, coming from the same place, A flat melodic minor, just this shell of that sound. And here I'm playing. Hear how I'm playing these 8th note lines just right out of the box, right? And when we get to D minor 11th, I can play D minor 6 there. Same logic that we had with F minor 11th, right? Those notes being D, F, A, and B. Okay, D, F, A, and B. So that's using 6th chords on this tune to unlock it using 6th chord, this 6th chord 4-note grouping sound that I really like a lot. Let's move on now to 7th chords. Now, when it comes to using 7th chords to solo on these chord changes, using 7th chords to unlock these chord changes, we're going to use a formula that I like to use a lot, something that I teach in the Bass Improv Mastery program. And that is, when we have a minor 7th chord, we can go to the 5th degree and we can play another minor 7th chord arpeggio from that 5th degree. So if our chord here is F minor 7th or F minor 11th, I can go to the 5th degree of that, which is going to be C, okay? And from C, I can play another minor 7th arpeggio. So remember, our chord here is F minor, but I can also play C minor 7th. So beautiful, right? And this really, I call this unlocking the chakra of the chord, because it's like all the colors are coming out and we're unlocking these extensions, right? So C natural is our 5th, right? But then E flat is our 7th. Now we're back to the triad from earlier, right? E flat is our 7th, G is our 9th, B flat is our 11th, right? And I can play that all over the neck, right? And then I can even play blues material from this. Okay. Right? Now, I did a previous video talking about playing fills. This whole approach, I call this the entry point system, and basically we're thinking about a target note and a tonality. So in this case, 5th degree is our target note. In the program, the way I teach this, that's target 5, and our tonality is minor. Again, if you want to learn more about the Bass Improv Mastery program, do click on the link below. But anytime we see a 7th chord, we can go to the 5th degree, and we've got another 7th chord we can play there. So F minor 11th, F minor 7th, we can approach it with C minor 7th. Now moving on to D flat 7 sharp 11 or D flat 13 sharp 11, we can unlock that chord with a minor major 7th chord. In this case, for that D flat 13 sharp 11, we're going to play an A flat minor major 7th chord. So for this, we're going to play A flat minor major, A flat, C flat, E flat, and then G natural. Okay, we have a minor triad and a major 7th. A flat, C flat, E flat, and then G, a minor 7th. Okay, we already talked earlier about how we can use A flat minor 6, why that works on D flat 7, why that works on D flat 7 sharp 11. Okay, but remember when we're talking about A flat melodic minor, well, A flat minor melodic minor has that major 7th in it, right? Has that G natural in the case of A flat melodic minor. A flat, B flat, C flat, B flat, E flat, F, G, which is the sharp 11 of D flat 13 sharp 11. Okay, so we can play A flat minor major there. And again, that's going to sound like this. Okay, and then if I want to, I'm starting with 4, I want to add more, I want to fill out these 4 notes with the scale. Okay, then I could be thinking A flat melodic minor around that. And then when we use this approach again for D minor 7th or D minor 11th, same thing that we did with F minor 11th. When we have a minor 7th chord, we can go to the 5th degree. I like to call that target 5. Again, I use that language just because it just makes it more immediate. There's just something about saying target 5 that just helps with our reaction time, as opposed to thinking, okay, go to the 5th degree and play, minor, etc. Just makes it quick. Target 5, right? So from the 5th degree, which for D minor 7th, 5th is going to be A. So I can play an A minor 7th arpeggio on that sound, on this sound, right? I can play A, C, E, G, okay? A is the 5th, C is the 7th, E is the 9th, G is the 11th. Again, we already encountered this C major triad, right? When we first started talking about this, when we talked about triads, the triad that we would play on this D minor 7th chord, we'd play a C major triad. So same concept, okay? So now basically just, this is just adding on, but it's the same information. C minor 7th is the same thing as E flat major 7th, right? C minor 7th and E flat major 7th, that's relative minor and major, okay? So for when I have C minor 7th, I can also play E flat major 7th. So F minor 7th, F minor 11th. Okay, I can play E flat major 7th. Okay, and that's a cool sound too. Okay, gives me E flat is the 7th, and again, then I have G is my 9th, B flat is my 11th, and now D natural comes into the picture. That's going to be our 13th. Okay, it's going to really ring out if we play it higher on the neck. Okay, that 13th that's all the color we can really have just on a minor 7th structure if we have that 9th, 11th, and the 13th. All right. In terms of, we're going to skip the D flat 13 sharp 11 in this case. And then same principle when we get to D minor 11th or D minor 7th, right? A minor 7th is the same as C major 7th. Okay, so wherever I would play A minor 7th, I can also play C major 7th. C, E, G, B. Okay, C is my 7th, E is my 9th, G is my 11th, and now that B natural is my 13th. Just really, really beautiful sound. And then the last few ways that I want to talk about using major 7 structures, when we have F minor 11th, this one's pretty simple. We can just go to our relative major, right? F minor, relative major is A flat major 7th. And that's going to give us some beautiful sounds. That A flat is our 3rd, obviously, but then we have C natural, which is our 5th, and then we have E flat, which is our 7th. G is our 9th. Okay, and then I can come back to the root. A flat, major, 7th. Okay, now, this is a really cool way to unlock this next chord, our D flat 13 sharp 11, using a major 7 structure. But in this case, we're going to use a major 7 sharp 5 chord. Okay, so when we have D flat 13 sharp 11 here, okay, again, this chord right here in the tune, when we have that, okay, if we play a B major 7 sharp 5 over that, so if I play B, D sharp, G, okay, and then B flat or A sharp. Again, so chord is D flat 13, sharp 11, and I'm playing a B major 7, sharp 5 arpeggio, which again is going to be B, D sharp or E flat, G. Okay, that's our sharp 5 when we're thinking B major 7, sharp 5, okay? It's also our sharp 11 when we're thinking D flat 13 sharp 11, right? G is the sharp 11 of D flat. I know this may seem confusing, okay, but just follow me here. B major 7 sharp 5, B, E flat, G. That's our sharp 5 in this case, thinking B major 7 sharp 5, and then our major 7th, B flat or A sharp. Beautiful way to unlock this sound. Basically, the formula here is anytime you have a dominant 7 sharp 11, dominant 13 sharp 11, okay, you're going to go to the flat 7, to the 7th, all right, and you're going to build this major 7 sharp 5 structure from the 7th. Right, that's what we're doing here. The chord is D flat 13 sharp 11. We're going to B. Right, and I know this probably is not enharmonically correct. I get that enharmonically the correct way to describe the 7th would probably be to call it C flat. I can't do that. It's just too difficult. All right, so we're just going to call it B natural, but you're going to go to the 7th degree, which in this case is going to be C flat or B natural, and you're going to build a major 7 sharp 5 arpeggio. That's the formula. Go to the 7th degree, play a major 7 sharp 5 arpeggio. Killer sound. And then we can also play an F major 7th chord when we have this D minor structure, this D minor 7 structure. Same principle that we used over here, just basically going to the relative major. Okay, relative major of D minor is F major, all right? Just basically going to the minor 3rd, if we're thinking D minor, and playing a major 7th chord. So D minor 7th, we'd be thinking F major 7th. Okay, F major 7th is played in 2 octaves. There's my root. All right, so now let's put it all together. I'm going to blow over an iReal Pro backing track of Cantaloupe Island, and I'm going to bring in some of these materials, just interspersing and moving around, mixing and matching these different approaches. So thanks for checking out this lesson. Let me know in the comments below what you think about this approach. Let me know some other approaches that you would use to blow on this tune. And if you want to learn more about how to use minor 6 arpeggios in a funk context, click here.